remember the days we saw purple haze. 1 and 1, and 1 is 3. Hey, hey, baby, what you do to me?
Senior editor, music editor. I have a unique job working at what we call the most notorious magazine in the world. High Times allows me to be a journalist and an activist, which is a rare combination. There are very few opportunities out there in the media to do both. But I'm a journalist first, and I'm a pot smoker activist second. I like to sort of just go back a little bit on how I got to High Times and how I've worked in this direction for the last 10 years. As a journalist, a music journalist for the most part, an entertainment journalist in the 70s, I wrote for many publications: Rolling Stone, Downbeat, Musician, Daily News in New York, USA Today. Was a pretty accomplished freelance writer looking for a place for myself as a full-time employee. And I found that, to my great surprise, at High Times when I started doing freelance work for High Times in the late 80s. I came up to the office on 43rd Street and between 2nd and 3rd Avenues in New York, and I walked in there. I was invited by John Holmstrom, who was the managing editor at the time, to do a little work up at High Times. I stopped at the office, and it reminded me of college. I had been the editor of the college newspaper in the Bronx in New York at Louisville College in the early 70s, and I hadn't really experienced an office that reminded me of that college environment until I got to High Times. It was a lot of fun, a lot of people enjoying themselves, 2 people to an office, crowded, just hustling and bustling. It was a small place putting out a lot of energy. And I was, after doing a little bit of freelancing work, I was offered the opportunity to be news editor of High Times, which is a little bit of a switch for me, since I mostly focused on entertainment. I'd written a book about video games, I'd written a book about basketball. I'd never focused on marijuana as a subject to write about. Matter of fact, I hadn't even read High Times very often. I was a student of the new journalism of the 70s, the Village Voice, Rolling Stone, New Times, and all the great new journalist writers, Tom Wolfe, Capote, Mailer, and everybody else. And I sort of fed myself on all those writers so that I could become a quality writer myself. And got to High Times and took the job as news editor and started to learn a whole lot that I really didn't know. I was a marijuana smoker, but not an activist. I think a lot of people that I knew at that time, felt the same way, that they might be smokers, but they really didn't have a way to channel their energy towards doing something to change the laws. And while being news editor of High Times, I discovered a tremendous amount of information about people being arrested, the drug laws, and it became an educational process for me to learn about what was going on out there in this legalization environment. As time went on, it was kind of a great way for me to really understand the issues, as I got piles and piles of letters and notes from prisoners, from people busted, from all kinds of people. As the news editor of High Times, you get all the scraps of paper, and you look through everything, and it's kind of like one sort of sad story after another, but it fired me up to try and do something, and to work within the context of High Times to make some changes. Steve Hager, the editor-in-chief of High Times, recognized that I was sort of looking to expand my reach for the magazine, and gave me the opportunity to be a senior editor, music editor, and focus on another aspect of what we're doing at the magazine to sort of branch out our entertainment coverage and reach out to a lot of bands that have been reading the magazine, but we had not been focusing on their music. We had been really focusing primarily on the older music of the 60s, Grateful Dead and Pink Floyd, but haven't really addressed the new music of the 90s. And when I started being music editor, I focused our coverage in that direction. In the next couple of years, I got the opportunity to put together 2 benefit albums with the help of Dick Cowan, who's sitting here to my left. We put together the first compilation album, Freedom is Normal, and that did very well. And we did a second one a couple of years later, 3 years later, which was last year, Free the Weed, and I hope you've all got copies of that. So just a little background on how I sort of luckily stumbled into this situation. Now my job is senior editor, and I focus on the interviews that we do every month in the magazine, the music coverage, entertainment coverage. We're doing something new called the Stonies, which is a film award that High Times is organizing, recognizing the films of 1999. We'll be doing it every year now. So those are some of the